Howdy, folks, and welcome to episode 242 New Era, Old Rules. We're going to be talking about using rules that we already have to explore new eras, new genres, etc. I am probably solo again this evening. Definitely no Reese. I reached out to McMurray, haven't heard from him yet. But if he shows up, of course, we'll get him added in here and everything will be cool. Um, I want to first make mention over at wiley-games.com that we are looking at 20% off until when? It doesn't say. 20% off the Foundations Collection, Core, and Bigger Battles products. So that's the core rule book, the core custom cards, the bigger battles book. So yeah, 20% off that. I would assume until this coming Friday or Saturday. That's normally when they're running them. So yeah, head on over to wiley-games.com. Pick up your copy, hard copy or PDF of any of the core systems, whether the original core book, I shouldn't say original but you know what I mean, either the core book, the Bigger Battles book, or the generic cards. 20% off. I would say at least through tonight and tomorrow, maybe include Friday and Saturday on that. No code necessary. Just head on over and drop them into your cart and pay for them, and you get the 20% discount automatically. So there is that. The other thing I want to mention is this Friday, I'm going to do a Discord hangout, um, paint and chat type thing on the server, and probably voice channel one, probably around 8 o'clock Central, like normal. So come on in, hang out. Hissy Cat said he'll be there, so all are welcome. If you're watching me here, either live or recorded, this coming Friday, March 6th, uh, will be a paint and chat. So speaking of Hissy Cat, he was in here a little while ago. He says he's getting himself some dinner and he will be back. Outstanding, Telemachus. Carry on, my wayward sons. There will be peace when you are done. And Charles says hi. Hi, Charles. How you doing, buddy? Glad you could make it. You're here. Friday is RPG night, unfortunately. Fortunately. Fair enough. Fair enough. Um, I hope you enjoy rolling dice because I'm going to be doing that RPG thing on the 15th. So not this coming Sunday, but the following Sunday, uh, I'm going to be running my Star Trek Adventures game for the Thursday night gaming group. Got some dice, some Star Trek dice to take with me. I still need to get them get the colors put in there. So on the numbers, so we'll see what happens. Telemachus is playing Cyberpunk Red. Outstanding. Yeah, Charles, it will be on Discord. Um, so like I said, it'll be voice channel one. Um, I should be there by 8 o'clock. Anybody can drop into those voice channels at any time they want. They are open for use anytime anybody wants to use them. It does. I don't have to be in there. For y'all to use them. If y'all want to get together and cuss and discuss about stuff, by all means, go ahead. I've got no problem with it. So, but specifically this coming Friday, March 6th. around 8 a.m. or 8 p.m. Central Standard Time US. I will be there. Hissy Cat should be there. So yeah, come on and join us. So, um, been working on some more of my Bretonians. Got those guys done. I've got these guys done. I mean, they're not great, but you know what? Oh well, they don't have to be, right? And then I've got, I did these guys. So I'm basically halfway finished with my first unit of knights, and then I started up getting some archers painted up. So got a lot more of them to do. I've got, I think, about 24 of those to go. Is that right? Yeah, there's four, four, four little, four little stands per base. That looks like ah looks like that. So and there's of course I believe 6 bases um, to an infantry stand or to an infantry unit. So Telemachus says they look good to me. It isn't like you're starting a museum. Exactly. Yeah. I just need them to be look good on the tabletop is all. So there we have not had Bretonians in our in any of the games yet, so they will be the first Bretonians on the playing field. So, but the reason I bring up the new era old rules is because in 2 weeks from tomorrow we are going to be playing Ocean Thunder pre Dreadnoughts. So specifically, Battle of Tsushima Strait, uh, Japanese versus Russians. Come here, sweetie. Come here. Why? Why are your paws wet, huh? Why are your paws wet? She wanted to say hi, guys. Maybe. What? You've been drinking water with your paws again, haven't you? Crazy ass cat. Anyway, so one of the guys has got well, my buddy Brad, who's been playing Ocean Thunder basically since I started the creating the game uh, back in the mid '90s. Um, said he would like to get a game in of Ocean Thunder, so I said sure, why not? And I said, but we'll have to find somebody with ships because I currently don't have any available to run with. And one of the guys said, well, I've got pre dreadnoughts for Battle of Tsushima Strait. And they said, well, could you put something together for that? And I'm like, I think I can. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do pre dreadnoughts for Ocean Thunder and see how that turns out. I'm hoping it works out well. And I started to think about of all of the different games we have out there that we've played, how many times have we used the rules to play something else, to play a different era, to play a different genre, etc. And for my group, it seems to be my two basic gaming groups, the Thursday night group with Doug and Brad, and then my once monthly group with my buddy Copeland and Joel. We tend to do that a lot, apparently. Let's see here. Charles says he picked up some more GHQ micro armor. Oh, nice. World War II and some moderns, 1 pack each of Leopards and T-80s. There you go. Very nice. Very nice. So I started thinking, you know, we've used, certain rules to play different genres, and we've actually used models to play in different rules quite a bit. Hey, Hiss, welcome back. I hope you got a good dinner. It's probably a can of chili with beans. Just open the can and eating out and sharing it with the cats. It's a swag, scientific wild ass guess, but I bet you I'm right. But I use my my Star Wars Legions. I've never played the game Star Wars Legions. I find no interest in playing the game Star Wars Legions. What I have done though is taken the Legions miniatures, both the actual figures and the ones that I've 3D printed, and have played Fistful of Lead Galactic Heroes with them. So I've done that quite a bit. I've used BattleTech battle mechs in Fistful of Lead Battlesuit Alpha. I've used X-Wing. I've used all kinds of stuff. I've used X-Wing miniatures. I've used Battlestar Galactica miniatures. I've used Korean War miniatures that I've painted, both printed and painted, and just had painted. World War II miniatures, all using Fistful of Lead starfighters. You can kind of see something with my Fistful of Lead gaming. I take it seriously when I say you can literally play any era, any genre that you want with those rules. I've even used my Armada ships to play Fistful of Lead. So it is really one of my go-to games. We've also used the damn it, I'm drawing a blank. Space Marines. Games Workshop stuff that we've used, in Fistful of Lead. I think my brother and nephew have used Orcs and Space Marines and Gene Stealers and whatnot to play Xenos. I think they've played Xenos Rampant. If they haven't yet played it, I think their plan is to play it. We played Dragon Rampant with War Master miniatures. So even though Dragon Rampant is, mostly played using using 28 millimeter. We're using a 10 millimeter, and it looks really good on the table when you've got your six. We're doing six bases of infantry, um, in, with either four columns of two or two rows of four or five for the infantry. It really looks like a nice big force. It looks like a block of infantry going out there and doing its thing, instead of just 12 random dudes taking a flag for a walk. As uh, again, I think both my brother has said it, and I definitely have heard Henry Hyde say the same thing. So, um, oh hey, it did not tell me you were here, McMurray. Sorry about that, man.
It's all good. What's up?
Hey, not much. Glad you could make it.
Heard us discussing 10 mil and 28.
Yeah, I was talking about how my gaming groups have used um, different rules for different eras and genres than what they were originally written for. And I was talking about how most recently we used Mike Copeland and Joel, and I've started playing Dragon Rampant using War Master units,
Yeah.
and how it really looks using the 10 millimeter figures. The we do six bases for, I think we do six bases for the infantry, and three bases for the cavalry, and they look like actual big units out on the field, not just a couple of random dudes taking a flag for a walk
Yeah,
that you
so
get
that's
with
how
28 millimeter.
that's how I first stumbled on Lion Rampant.
Mm-hmm.
Was doing that with my 10 mil like medievals.
Yeah.
With those though, I based them I think it's like they're relatively square bases. Um so I can still get cuz I tried doing that with War Master and you wind up with kind of oddly shaped units sometimes just
Right.
because the rules are plainly built for relatively uh even base sizes. Sorry, I just finished cooking. I gotta wash my hands.
That's fine.
For relatively even base sizes, um, just in terms of they're built for circles or squares, um,
Right.
it still works super well though, as long as you got a way to track casualties. Which, with I've done that a number of times with rebels and patriots using fire and fury bases.
Yeah.
It has kind of the same effect. 12 or 6 bases of guys. Oh, you played in that Halloween game that I put on
Yeah.
when we did that. And then you just have a casualty marker that you put next to the unit to indicate that one of those stands is halved.
Right.
I
Yeah.
had those little
That's what we do.
round casualty markers with a dead
Mm-hmm.
Confederate or Union guy on them.
Right.
Um, but yeah, no, I've had a lot of fun. That being said, I've also had a lot of fun. Like Lion and Dragon Rampant, to a certain extent, are built really well. I don't know. I really like that whole system that Dan Mercy put together there.
Yeah.
Um, it is slightly challenging once you get into some of the variants. I think we've touched on that before. Like, um, what am I going for? Rebels and Patriots. You can tell it's not written by Dan Mersey. It's written by somebody else. So they aren't
Right.
quite as. There's a couple little like spots where we ran into things like, wait a minute, hang on, what are? Oh, well, that's not really addressed here. Which are fine because especially in just a fun game on a Tuesday night or a weeknight, who gives a shit? Um,
Right.
but yeah, I've had a ball playing with those rules. I just did a bunch more 28s for. Um, I usually play it with the Dragon Rampant rules, just because that has the larger stuff built into it, which works really well for like chariots and stuff for Bronze Age.
Yeah.
because nobody wants to paint up 12 or 6 chariots, but painting up 2 or 3 of them is fine.
Right,
Um,
exactly.
but then it also works with one thing that's notably missing in like Lion Rampant is like heroic characters, right? Your leader is just kind of a guy mixed in with the unit, and he makes that unit better, but you don't have like a Goliath on the table. That's what my first big guy for Bronze Age was. It,
Yeah. Did we lose you? I think we lost you, McMurray. Well, while he figures out that, Scala's in the house, and he says Star Wars Legion should have been a 10 millimeter or less scale game. I agree. That would have been amazing. Being able to have 10 millimeter stormtroopers and rebels pounding around, being able to do Hoth. There you are.
there we
You back? Hey,
go.
there you go.
Yeah. Sorry, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's an iOS thing, because I've noticed it on other streams too. When people call, even if you just try
Oh,
and let it
yeah,
go, it
yeah,
like kills either your sound or the sound for the stream.
yeah.
But yeah,
Well,
you're right, Scala. Um,
not a Wednesday without McMurray having connectivity issues.
Xenos Rampant Toll
Yes, Xenos are rampant.
is the space variant. Um,
Yeah, I have not played that, but I'm assuming it's very similar.
I would assume so. It's probably just got different unit types and different weapons,
Yeah,
specifically with range stuff. Because like Lion and Dragon Rampant don't have too much variety in range stuff. There's kind of
yeah. An arrow is an arrow is an arrow, basically.
yeah, like depending on which one you're looking at. Sometimes there's crossbows and like slings or spears mixed in. But like the
Right,
slings and spears are usually abstracted, or the light throwing stuff is 6 inches. A normal bow or sling might be 12, and then you've got
right,
like crossbows and longbows that go out to 18, but then you take a penalty for shooting over 12. Anyways, um so I'd imagine that is a little different in space stuff. um
right.
but that rule system lends itself really well to decent sized skirmishes where
Mm-hmm.
you don't necessarily have to worry about linear formations. That's part of the kind of the charm of that those rules is it's groups of guys running around, which works really, really well for like medieval and Bronze Age stuff, where you've kind of
Oh
got
yeah,
a guy and his guys. Um,
yeah, exactly.
but yeah, I think I would enjoy playing it with like Viking stuff, but I'm not a huge. Well, Charles, that depends on who it is. I've absolutely played Lion Rampant with like Aztecs and whatnot, and so
Yeah,
unfortunately,
yeah.
that's not always the case.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, real quickly, Charles says I love Dragon Rampant for my big fights in 15 and 28. Fistful of Lead I like with 28s usually at most plus or minus 20 figures for two sides. Yeah,
yep.
I to me, Fistful of Lead is quote unquote a true skirmish game, whereas each individual figure is individually activated, whereas other skirmish games, Force on Force, uh, the Rampant series, those to me are more large skirmish because you're activating units, multiple dudes at a time. So, but not full on forces, so to speak.
Yeah.
So, but it's fun. I enjoy it immensely. And yeah,
The
like
second
Charles
edition of
says,
Lion Rampant is gorgeous too.
oh
Um,
yeah. Well, so is Dragon Rampant. Second edition
correct.
Dragon Rampant is just,
Osprey went all out,
yeah,
and they are ridiculously well priced. I think at Miniature Market, I
yeah, they
paid
are.
20 something bucks for the Lion Rampant second edition book, which is a hardback book.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, it's published by Osprey, so they've got all the beautiful art you could want. Um,
Yeah, exactly.
it does kind of backfire though as a tableside rule book because all of a sudden the rules are way more spread out. Like
Yeah,
in the original book, you got maybe 15 or 20 pages of rules and unit profiles to look at, which I like to make little note cards with the unit
yeah,
profiles on them for folks, just little 3x5s,
right.
and that usually works really well for folks. But yeah, the that book is gorgeous, but it's not quite as much of a tableside rules manual, um,
No,
which is about as
no.
nitpicky as you can get. But yeah,
But also, it's um, the rules are they're simple but not simplistic.
yes,
So you can easily, once you've read the rules and played the game a couple of times, you can live off of a QRS very easily with those rules.
yes,
Um, so I think that's where it definitely shines. Is it's almost as good as a uh, coffee table book just for people to thumb through and look at as it
hmm
is a rules book. And when it comes to rules, just just get a QRS going and
with
call
the
it good.
unit cards, man. Again, that's the nice thing about the note
Hmm.
cards is I can actually write out the special rules at the bottom.
Right.
Um, and then really you're keeping track of just a couple of modifiers and like close combat and stuff and morale stuff, and it is wonderful. There's a lot of nuance to those rules too once you get into it.
Oh,
Into
there
it,
can be. Absolutely, there can be.
like
Um,
it's almost impressive. The more you play it, the more you realize, oh, okay. Especially once you get into the whole, I think it's Lion and Dragon Rampant both do the you fail activation play passes to the other player.
right.
Um,
Yep.
there's a couple of
Yes,
them in
it
that
is.
series that don't. Like I know Rebels and Patriots doesn't. I don't know if the Men Who Would Be Kings does,
Yeah, that I'm not sure of either, but I
but
do know with Dragon Rampant, if you've got basically one reroll if the commander is close enough,
yeah, within 12, yeah.
and if not, sorry, circle does not get the square.
Yep.
We got some lovely parting gifts.
But
So
it's cool once you get into it because then all of a sudden you start having to take that into consideration. Because again, Dan Mercy's real upfront about if you don't want to, if you're playing a friendly game or people haven't necessarily played it too much, don't do that, which is fair.
right,
Um,
yeah,
but holy shit, does it add an entire other dimension when all of a sudden, okay, I really want these guys to do this turn, but I got to do all this other stuff first that might be easier before I take this risky activation roll.
exactly,
Um,
exactly. Order of operations becomes paramount.
it does. It does, which is pretty slick. Those
Yeah.
are quite fun
So,
rules. We're prepping to play a really, really big game of Lord of the Rings with
oh,
Dragon
nice.
Rampant. Probably
What
in a couple
scale?
months. 28.
Oh, yeah, that should be pretty.
28. Oh, it should be gorgeous. The thought was to do a series of games leading up to it to introduce everybody to it, and then all of a sudden throw, a few hundred figures on a table and really get after it.
Nice,
Um,
nice. Well, I found, and I can't remember the dude's name off the top of my head, but on Thingiverse, a guy has put STLs out for 10 millimeter Helms Deep.
Ringgold,
Oh, is that who it was?
yes, and he's done
Okay.
everything. Like
Yeah.
from like to break it down, if you want to do Minas Tirith, he's got Minas Tirith city walls and
Mm-hmm.
gates and stuff. Then he's got
Yeah.
the dock where Aragorn and the Army of the Dead arrive. He's got
Right.
Corsair ships. He's got the
Uh-huh.
Ramus Ecker, which is not even mentioned in the movies, but that's the wall that circles around the entirety of the Pelennor Fields all the way to
Mm-hmm.
Asgiliath. And he's got Asgiliath ruins. They're phenomenal. But
Yep.
then he's also got the Black Gates. He's got Rohan walls and buildings. He's got like Easterling buildings and stuff. And then he's got like a whole orc army, if I recall, as well as the whole fellowship and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. You
Mumox.
can get.
And he's actually still posting stuff on Thingiverse, which is even cooler.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I couldn't remember if that's who it was or where I had found it, but once I
Oh
get
yeah.
my once I get my Neptune's um, nozzle replaced, I'm going to be blowing through so much filament
Oh yeah.
printing that shit up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Charles. It's a if I'm not mistaken, it's a I think it's not an Urukai army, but it's an orc Lord of the Rings orc army.
I know he's at least got dwarves. I don't know if he has orcs. I'm trying to think. Because I printed a
Somebody's
shitload
got
of them.
orcs out there. Somebody's got
Yes,
orcs out there. I can't remember
absolutely.
who.
Because I printed a bunch of well, there's the place that they talk about in on Little Wars TV, Wakes Emporium.
Yeah.
They have all kinds of stuff. Frustratingly, he will not release his Rohan files.
Ah.
They're sold. The figures are sold, but the files are not. Um, but then like and he's got a whole bunch of different stuff. He's got most everything. There's another guy who does Wolf brother. There's another guy who does like fiefdom stuff, so like the Swan Knights, the Dol Amroth guys.
Yeah.
Um, and then I found somebody else who's got like Moria goblins, which is kind of cool. Um, yeah, you can find the stuff. It's out there. Most of
Yeah.
those are on Gumroad though, I think. But
Yeah. So the nice thing about the Ringgold stuff, it's all on Thingiverse, currently at no cost to download.
it's free.
Yeah.
Yeah, which
So
is super cool.
I guess he's got nothing better to do than just be, a saint.
Yeah, I was about to say I think he's just a hobbyist, man. Like the best kind of
Yeah.
hobbyist.
Exactly. Exactly. So, um, but what got us into the topic that we're talking about, oddly
Mhm.
enough, before you showed up,
Sorry.
is no, and that's fine. No, because this is where I was wanting to go, but I'm wanting to bring this up specifically because you'll find this interesting.
All right.
In 2 weeks, I'm running Ocean Thunder for the Thursday night group
Nice.
Battle of Tsushima pre Dreadnought.
Nice. That
So
will be
I've got
cool.
two
That'll
weeks.
be
Yeah,
wild.
I've got 2 weeks to figure that shit out.
Yeah, all of a sudden it's not just main
Yeah.
guns and secondary guns. You got secondary guns, tertiary guns.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Hopefully you
I
can
got
just
a.
keep it to the battle lines and that should simplify things substantially.
Yes. Yeah. I'm just gonna do battleships and armored cruisers. Gonna.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go with anything smaller than an armored cruiser, which I think um, a main battery on those are like at 8-inch guns.
Usually there's one or
And
two, 8 or 9.
yeah, yeah, and then down to like maybe I think they might have 4-inch guns. But the difficulty I'm having is getting some solid penetration values
Oh yeah.
for different guns against armor. And the other
That's
thing I'm
gonna be
finding out is that um, yeah, in World War II, the different navies had different armor, but they were pretty analogous to each other, right?
yes.
Um, 12 inches of belt armor is 12 inches of belt armor for the most part.
Uh
Not so much in pre-dreadnought.
huh.
So I don't know how. I don't want to get too far in
Some
the weeds with it.
Yeah, I was about to say some degree of abstraction is going to happen. The nice thing is you really don't have to worry about shooting past 10,000 yards.
Right, right,
Um, and realistically, you don't have to worry about shooting until you get within, 3, 4, or 5,000 yards. Um,
exactly, exactly. So, the other thing I'm going to do is I've already decided because even the biggest battleships or heavy armored ships
mhm.
are like only 400 feet long.
Yeah, armored cruisers
Um,
are still small
yeah, just
by comparison once you drop like an
yeah,
Iowa or something on the table.
yeah. So Mikasa is like tiny.
Uh huh.
So whereas on the World War I ships on the damage log,
Hmm.
I put them at 1/2400 scale size to put into the box. I'm actually gonna kick it up to 1/1800 scale to be able to
Honestly,
fill out that box more.
I might honestly advocate you keeping it at 12400 because
Oh, to just make it that more because
accuracy, yeah, accurate
yeah,
shooting was
wasn't as big a
no,
thing.
like it was incredibly impressive when Dewey rolled into Manila and managed like a 1% hit rate against largely anchored ships. Like that was considered incredible at the time.
All right.
Um,
Well, see,
again,
that's
the
why I have you here.
yeah, like your whole range finding and targeting is still by and large the Mark One human eyeball.
Right.
Um, like once you get
Yeah.
into like the British Navy, maybe well, even in 1904, the German Navy was barely forming. To be honest with you, um,
Yeah.
like the British had rudimentary rangefinders and slight targeting, but man, no, it's all local control. You don't have fire
A lot
directors.
a lot of over barrel sighting.
Uh huh. And there's no they're actually pretty big, Wolf Brother. You put that bad boy on land, and all of a sudden you got 105. Um,
Right.
but like you don't have any of the World War II, um, uh, like the Japanese were famous for using die packs to adjust fall of shot, right?
Yeah.
Or just a general idea of okay, that's an 18-inch shell versus that is whatever random 5 or 4.7 or whatever the Japanese were shooting as secondaries.
Yeah.
When all of a sudden you got, say you're an armored cruiser and you've got two 9.2-inch shells falling every minute, but then you've got God knows how many 7 or 8-inch shells, and then
Yeah.
good Lord, how many 4 inches could just be going ape shit.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
there is which undoubtedly contributed to the whole man, it's hard to hit stuff. But it really just adds a layer of complexity that's hard, that took me a long time to understand. Because I didn't get it when I heard the 1% thing. I thought that was absurd that would be incredible. When in World War II, you're getting 2.4 or whatever, and that's not bad. Um,
Right.
Granted, that's not if Ching Li is in charge. If it's USS Washington, then somebody's getting chewed out if that's the hit rate. But
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Because it's gonna be higher.
we're better than that. Um, or rather, Ching Li's better than that. The Tsushima would be really cool. I still say that Ocean Thunder is made for like the battle cruiser action pre Jetland and stuff.
Yeah.
Like Those are
So
quite simply just phenomenal options. Maybe I'll
yeah,
do that
so
at some point in time.
we're gonna see how well they go, and like I said, I might just you know change things up, and when I finally do decide to do something more with them, go to just say, hey, let's go with pre Dreadnought and uh, World War I type stuff, just because it's more along the lines of
Yeah.
you don't have to worry about airplanes, you don't have to worry about submarines. It's it is all surface combat.
I would still argue that or submarines have no place in Ocean Thunder, but that's okay.
No, and
Oh,
there is
I'm about to say that's a die roll somewhere
yep,
before a
exactly
scenario
right.
takes place. Too many people try and mix submarines into their surface warfare games, and it's one of those no, 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 no. Reese, get those oversized goats swimming stuff.
Yeah. Um,
Slash, if they can, aren't you just kind of making like cold brewed beef broth? Way I see it, you can market that shit. That's got to be more expensive. Like everybody loves beef broth and all that nonsense, but if it's cold brewed, people pay out the nutsack for cold brewed coffee, um, which I don't understand. But that's not the point. I don't understand a lot of stuff. That shouldn't dissuade anybody from anything. Um, but yeah, dude, man,
so
boy, howdy.
when I get things put together for it, I'll send you the files.
I was about to say, are you printing the figures?
No, buddy of mine already has them.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
There you
Uh,
go. Jackpot.
I
That takes some
yeah.
stress off of you.
Yeah. So
Most
my buddy Brad said he wanted to get a game in, and I said, well, I'll run it, but someone's going to have to provide ships. And everybody said, well, all my ships are either packed away or I got rid of them, or and one of the guys in the group said, well, I've got Battle of Tsushima ships.
that we can
All
figure
right, why not?
out. Line them up. Line
Let's
them up.
go.
That's I think those actually mostly are on Thingiverse as well. Um, or at least I know at one point in time the overwhelming majority of them were. Um,
Oh, like Mikasa and all
yeah,
of those.
especially like the Japanese ones aren't as hard to find. It's the Russian ones that are hard. But I want to say almost all of them were. Um, I downloaded most of them at some point in time.
Let me take a
Uh,
look here.
but yeah, I actually just played. Well, not just, but a few months ago, played most of the battle line of Tsushima in the Great War at Sea, like simple tactical, where you just kind of line
Yeah.
up and you're getting after it. Um, yeah, because I actually have two copies of. Um, no, I have two copies of the Spanish American thing because they have Spanish American War, and then they've got like 19 or remember the main, but then I have 1904, 1905, which is the Russo-Japanese one, and that's quite fun. um I need to play more of that because it's quite delightful. It's tough sometimes to play solo because part of the whole thing is usually somebody's trying to avoid someone. Like you've got
Yeah.
essentially fleet markers on the table, and you kind of do simultaneous stuff most of the time, or at least that's how it's really fun to do with like the chase the Bismarck stuff and whatnot. But then if you know
Right.
what's under your opponent's fleet markers, it doesn't ruin it, but it's not quite as ooh shit. Uh, I'm standing here, so I reorganized most of my games. Unfortunately, I do not have enough shelf space, so they are mostly stacked vertically. But I have most of my naval boxed games in a stack. Um, I'm quite excited. I got both the salvos, so World War One and World War Two. Which one is that? Shit, what did Clash of Arms put out? Dreadnought, something like that, and then just a
Yeah.
stack of Second World War at Sea and Great World War at Sea, or Great War at Sea, as well as then just a mix, including I found my second copies of the Dreadnoughts and Battle Wagons, those two games from Decision, the folios.
Uh-huh.
Those are delightful. I picked up a Jutland game out of some magazine. I think it's Command magazine that I need to play because that looked quite fun. Um, I don't know, man. Oh, did I tell you guys I finally got that? I say finally, but it's been a couple weeks. I apologize. I haven't been. I missed last week. Um, that White Dog Games Master and Commander
Uh-huh.
game that I was all jazzed up about.
Yeah. That finally come in?
Pretty simple age of sale. It did, and it is quite simple, and it should lend itself quite well to miniatures. I think we talked about this using
Mm-hmm.
a base where I have the ship magnet on a base, and then I have the essentially counter on the bottom with
Right.
stats flipped 180 on each end, so then I can just rotate the under base to get
Right.
the second step stats. I think that's going to work real well. I'm still in the. I am so close to the having my house organized slash cleaned enough for like human consumption. Right, most of us. I feel like most of our game rooms or our hobby space is not necessarily, or at least in most. I feel like most gamers' cases, the hobby space is not necessarily fit for human consumption, for lack of a better term.
Right.
The issue is I'm a dude in my 30s who's been gaming since I was 10. So my 800 square foot house turned into a large hobby space.
Right. Yeah.
Not
Everything
not large enough.
is. Yeah.
There are still miniatures in every room, but at least in the kitchen that number has dropped drastically. There's some boats in the kitchen because there's
Why wouldn't there be?
well because there's boats goddamn everywhere in this house. Um, but anyways, yeah. So that's I don't know. I'm kind of psyched. It's gotten a lot more organized too. I found where I've got too many of those things. Okay, I don't need to order any more of these things. Um,
Right.
which is kind of nice because then it also gives me okay, dickhead, you got to paint this stuff. Like you got enough of this shit. It's time to paint it. So like Saturday or Sunday, I sat down and painted 30 28 millimeter Philistines
There you go.
because they were right there. They were sitting in the bag. Okay, I'm
Needed
going
to
to
be
get these
done.
guys on bases. I primed them. I went down to game night at 8380 Watson Road, and I sat there for probably 4 or 5 hours, and I painted uh, like from white primer to just needing to be based 30 Philistines, which
There
was
you go.
pretty cool because there's 2.5 more units for Dragon Rampant, and that's good because I've got those like 100 and something fucking Egyptians painted. And I found more Egyptians, go figure, um, in the organizational process, but I didn't quite have as many Egyptian opponents, and now I've got 30 more of them. So we're moving right along. Um, always need more. Always need more. With the end of Irregular sale, RIP Irregular Miniatures, Ian, you're the man. I got a whole bunch of Matani, which should be pretty cool. Um, those are one of those weird lines that you don't really see anywhere, but he had them. So at some point in time in the next month or so, I should be getting a whole bunch of Matani, including a bunch of the double camel riders, which are cool as shit.
There you go.
Um, yeah, enough to make a reasonably sized, dragon rampant chunk or lion rampant chunk for one person, which then can be mixed in with, you know, whatever else it needs to be mixed in with. That's the cool thing. The more I read about and listen to lectures and whatnot about the Bronze Age, is you don't necessarily have huge technological leaps and bounds for, a good long time. But what you do have is a lot of shifting political allegiances.
Right.
Also, nobody knows fuck all about the Bronze Age. So if I want to put, um, Assyrians and Hittites and Mitanni all on the table at the same time, nobody's going to actually have any idea that I'm not fucking right until they hop on Wikipedia. And by that point in time, I'm yelling at them to roll their damn dice. Um, but so that's kind of nice and kind of cool. Nobody can be like, no, that's not the right color. It's like, well, the alabaster walls that these are carved on aren't in color. So
Yeah.
suck on my balls. Um, I did almost tell a guy that, and I had to bite my tongue real quick. So I was like, "Oh, you can't do that. Don't do that. That's bad. Don't do that."
Yeah.
Um, do, do not tell the player to suck your
uh,
balls. Um,
yeah, it's
but it goes right back to the Victorian sci-fi thing and why that was so fun because nobody could be like, "Well, this isn't the right one." Well, that's odd. They're on floating airships, so
yeah, exactly.
figure
They-
it the
They're
fuck
they're
out.
they're literally dudes with lances riding unicycles.
Yes.
Shut up.
That being said, I saw on I got real sad for a minute today. I was on, you know, if anybody uses Google Photos, it, generates random things like, oh, 6 years ago today or the best of March
Yeah.
2021. And I saw that 28 millimeter airships game that I did at the second March to Victory.
Yeah.
And it had my guy. So as you remember, I had those two guys that I could never figure out the manufacturer of. The one dude who had like the tubes and hoses coming out from his backpack and going out under his
Uh-huh.
arm
Yeah,
like he
yeah,
was
yeah.
spraying something. And then the one
Right.
dude whose left arm was a normal arm, but then his right arm had been lost or something, and it was just like a pipe gun.
Right.
And that guy was my favorite miniature. Like, because it was just the perfect amount of this isn't ridiculous. This is Victorian sci-fi, not steampunk trash.
Yeah.
And that figure did not make it home from the March to Victory, where I put on the big uh, Martian drift game.
Yeah.
And that makes me very sad. And I had a moment of silence and whatnot, sitting there looking at those pictures. But whatever, it happens. At some point in time, I'll show that picture to someone who will be like, "Oh, that's this figure. These figures. I have a bunch of that line." Um, it'll probably just be 60 years from now when I'm past my deathbed, and Frank Chadwick goes, "Oh yeah, I have those." Um,
Yeah, right.
but uh, either way, God, this is making me really yearn for some dragon slash lion rampant. I put on a bunch of those games about a year ago because that was a big chunk of my finishing for last year's what do you call it, analog hobbies painting challenge, was
Yeah.
getting a bunch of those Egyptians painted, as well as a bunch of, I think, their new line designs, like early Israelite period guys. So I'm sure some of them are random Canaanites or whatever. Um, but again, nobody can tell me what they are or aren't, so I don't really care. Which is, God, that's freeing.
Yeah, exactly.
God, that's free. But the cool thing is, there we are. I painted all those up. I painted a bunch of galls up too, because people were wanting to play the Snakes on a Plane game again,
Yo, yeah.
and I realized that
With
it's
your Purple
entertaining.
Helmet Warriors.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. But the Purple Helmet Warriors are really the elite. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they are.
Um, Not
Well,
everybody
I
can
mean,
fight with their dicks out.
no. No.
Um, but I absolutely have enough Romans, but I only had, 30 or 40 Gauls and Celts painted. So I painted up some more Gauls. I think I had like 12 of them or something that were plastic that had been sitting in the basement forever. Like to the point where before priming, I had to pick up each one and blow the dust off of it because there was just a little layer of dust on them. Like,
Right.
you guys have waited in model purgatory long enough. It's your time. Um, but actually, I should look that up because some of the early Israelite figures that I have are irregular also because he's got batch of a really good batch of like early Jewish religious figures. So like an early mystic, a couple guys with big Torah scrolls, stuff like that are pretty cool. Um, and I think I might have ordered some more of those also because again, so that's the sad part, guys. Irregular miniatures originally Ian was gonna stop taking orders on March 25th, and then so many assholes like me ordered colossal amounts of stuff because oh shit, Ian's not making miniatures anymore. Then he's like, it's gonna be March 1st.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be casting through like June. Um, that being said, his 2 mil and 6 mil will still be available. And it looks like the guy who's taken those over is also going to do a bunch of his like tens, which are pretty cool. Because a lot of that stuff is the stuff that you really can't find elsewhere, especially the 2 mil stuff. And he does have a lot of really cool 6 mil lines also. But the 2 mil blocks, I was about to cry if those were going out of production, but they're not. Um, okay, let's see if those were new line. What? Okay, computer, what are you bitching about now? Um, oh wow. Like there's 4 windows open on my like computer, not the laptop,
Yeah.
and each one of them is just like a gajillion tabs of my mini factory or Thingiverse. Um, because one of the local guys has bitten into Cavemen recently. He picked up
Yeah.
or he pre-ordered that Osprey rule set. What are we? Oh, I don't care about new Chitterbox. I want to go back to old Chitterbox, but my old printer isn't supported. Um, but anyways, but so I went and found a bunch of what do you call it? Like megafauna and whatnot.
Right.
He has taken it upon himself to basically order every 28 millimeter caveman figure that he can find. So I actually wound up painting like 30 of those last week also in my at home time. And the shame about those ones is I gave them back to him so he could base them and stuff because he wanted me to paint them on sticks. So I can't even submit to the Analog Hobbies painting challenge, but that's okay. Ooh, you know what we can do? We can do this cool thing. Hang on a sec. Um, God damn, I hate on Facebook, like on your computer, how it just randomly pops open dumb fucking like you close a little messenger thread and it just pops a
Yeah.
different fucking one open. I don't want to fucking look at all these goddamn things. That's why I'm fucking closing them. Sorry. Anyways, one thing I can do, thanks to the stellar efforts of Jeffrey and others, is this. All right. All this time. Come on. Come on. You can do it. Ooh.
Come here, baby. Come here.
I am also disappointed to know that wireless mouse and keyboard technology is not actually all that great because my stuff is sitting like 3.5 or 4 feet from the little USB stick. Oh, which is falling down. And it doesn't necessarily work super duper great. Maybe if it's not falling down, it'll be a little bit better.
That's why I like Bluetooth. 10 meters.
All right, let's
33 feet.
Shazam! What's up, guys?
Bazinga.
Shazal. All right, New Line Designs. New Line
Did you
Designs.
get new glasses?
It's been a minute, but yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it is. So it is a new line that has a fairly decent biblical range. It's not like colossal.
Right.
But one of the cool things that they have, if I recall correctly, is they've got, I think it's their Sumerian range. They've got the really early chariots where it's a dude like straddling a log.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's their Sumerian line. It is. Straddle cart. Yeah. Where it's like a log between two horses that then comes back to an axle, and there's like a saddle mounted on the log, which is super cool because it's the only place I've ever seen them. Yeah, Sumerians would be cool to do, but then you're really getting yourself into a niche because you've got one foe for them.
Yeah.
They do have a cool Sea Peoples line though, which I like. There's
Don't sit on my keyboard.
a fair amount there, which are pretty cool because they've got all the different variants of Sea Peoples that are on Ramesses' Great Big Victory release, which are cool. So you got the dudes with the horns and the discs, and then the plumes. Where are their Israelites? Those are cool ones. Let's see.
While you're looking that up, Charles was asking about my toe. It's doing well. It's healing. Go to the doctor tomorrow for him to poke at it some more. I've got 2 more weeks of intravenous administered antibiotics. So we'll see where we are at that point in time. But
Nice.
all in all, it's pretty good. Um, some of y'all may or may not know that uh, Ashley from Gamers with Coffee had to go to the hospital because she is super, super sick. That's why they didn't have their show on Sunday. So if you are a prayer person, pray. If you're a thoughts and feels type of person, send them that way. Apparently, she is or was crazy, crazy ill. So we're thinking about you, Ashley. Hope you get to feeling better soon.
Yeah, that is
Um,
real good.
so that's where we are. Yeah, this not being able to work is a severe bite in the ass. Um, Boring as all get out.
Yeah, it's got to suck.
So hopefully, hopefully the doctor will in the next, I don't know, hopefully 2 maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks at the outside, will say, hey, let's get you back to work now. So fingers crossed. Because you can only sit in the basement um, painting miniatures for so long without you going completely just batshit crazy.
That'll happen.
Yeah. So,
Oh man,
anywho, what'd you
how,
find?
how many spears are in their spear packs?
All of them, all of the spears.
Well, one thing that I have come to appreciate is good spears, like for figures where I have to drill out and put spears in hands.
Yeah.
Good spears are invaluable. I
Yes,
really
they are.
like the footsore or the old footsore style like hat pin where they have a point on them. They look super good,
Mm-hmm.
but god damn have I perforated my hands enough times that okay, maybe not those. Um,
Right.
and I used to do the thing with a copper wire where I'd hammer it and
Yeah.
then take it over to a sander and hit one side and then the other. I find myself needing more spears than that. Uh, Old Glory sells spears, but they're posts and then heads that you have to drill out and put onto the posts, which works. And I've done many, many, many of them. Um, but
Speaking of Old Glory, Reese wants to know how the order looks.
dude, it looks awesome. I got all your stuff bagged up. Oh, I measured. You were asking the size of ironclads. Queen City is colossal. I know it's not an ironclad. The Albemarle that I got, which is a small ironclad, is like 10, 11 inches. The 90-day gunboat that I have is right about a foot. So I mean they're short. All models, all naval ships, whether made by wargamers or short, it's not a huge deal. But I think you're going to be quite delighted because they should hold 15s real well. Um, One thing that I tend to do, Reese, though, is when I do naval figures, like specifically to put onto boats, I usually base them kind of one washer increment down. A, because it helps conserve on space on decks, and B, most of the time when you're putting figures on decks, they're relatively flat, so you don't necessarily need as big of a surface to sit on. Um, Whereas that can be really helpful if you're on like a textured rough ground or something. That's fantastic, but it's not necessarily as needed when you've got a deck to set them on. And I, admittedly, I do not need any more 15 millimeter ACW. Right? I can say that now. I can say that probably for a few years. A, because I have all of Jay's stuff. I got a big collection of 15 millimeter painted ACW locally here that I need to rebase because they're on varying size bases, and some of the bases have 5, 6 figures on them, which look cool, but to a Fire and Fury wargamer, that just screams this could be a base and a half or 2 bases worth of guys. I need to rebase these. So I need to rebase those. But what I did wind up picking up is a bunch of figures to use as naval crew because it's me. And so we got the opportunity was there for naval. So now I went up with 5 more boats. One is that 90-day gunboat, which is actually a really cool model. Big fan of that. I picked up that. Old Glory in 15 has a like bomb or mortar catch. Picked that up as well. Like I said, I grabbed Albemarle, which is a really small casemate ironclad. It's only got 2 guns. They're on a pivot or pivoting mount, so it can fire kind of off either broadside or stern or aft, or stern or bow. Um, and then I grabbed a couple of smaller boats. I think, Chris, you probably remember I had a couple smaller boats in that weird game that I put on, that Halloweeny
Yeah.
game.
Uh huh.
I had those. So I have another one of those the pack that it actually comes with is that and then a tugboat, but the tugboat has like two raised, like the pilot house is two levels, but they're two different castings. So I actually took the main tugboat, like that first level, and I kept it on the tugboat, and then I have the big. It's got a big stack behind it, and then I took the other one, and the second boat is that smaller, just flat bottomed guy with the boiler and short stack that are like one piece. Um, and so I took that second, which is actually the pilot house on that tugboat, and I put it down onto that guy. So now it's two kind of smaller, um, essentially tugs. Either way, they both have pilot houses on them now, which is cool because it keeps me from having multiple of the same thing rolling around the table. Those are next up on the painting. As soon as I need a quick break from Lord of the Rings, because again, I'm pushing through like Uruk-hai and stuff, and I think what I need to start doing is Minas Tirith guys, which I have some STLs for. I printed out a bunch of them before I realized they were like 32s, but
Oops.
all the Games Workshop figures are very nice, true 28s, which I'm
Yeah.
a fan of. Because I'd much rather just spend the 4 or 6 hours reprinting those two build plates. Also, in 25, I can cram like 2-3 more guys onto each build plate. So
Right.
great success, but I do need to get back on reprinting those. I think between those guys and the megafauna and stuff, it's about to be a busy week or so of printing at the Casa McMurray. That's fine. That's good. That's very good. Especially because, dude, it's kind of nice. You can get a lot of printing done if you like think about your schedule and how that can match printing, right?
Right.
So like when I have tall figures, like some of these guys with spears or some of the bigger megafauna, cool. I'll set it to print while I'm at work, right? I'm at work for 13, 14, 16 or 17 hours some days. They'll be done and be mostly dripped clean so they're not super gumming up my IPA
Yeah.
by the time I get home, which is super helpful. Like I really enjoy that. And then if I got some small stuff, I can print that out, between getting home and going to sleep. And then I set my alarm 10 minutes earlier so that in the morning I can take off the models that are on the build plate, start the next big long print, and there you go. And usually I can get easily 2, if not 3 build plates of reasonable sizes printed, even on days that I'm working, which is super helpful. Super helpful for projects, not super helpful for the table in there that is got a lot of resin on it.
Right.
A lot of unpainted resin on it. Whatever.
Yeah.
Should have.
I've got a lot of that also.
Read your guns are printing. As are, I threw some caissons on there too. Just guns need caissons. It's just basic. Although I know you're doing some smaller skirmish stuff, so I have a whole range of different guns printing. Mainly, like we talked about, the 12-pounders. I got some howitzers going. I also printed a bunch of 6-pounders because, especially in the Western theater, and especially for the Confederacy, 6-pounders were really, really, really prevalent. But yeah, so that stuff's going, Reese. One of the things Old Glory makes in their 15 millimeter ACW line that I'm kind of irritated at myself that I didn't also order one of these packs because Reese did, is they have a sharpshooters pack, which is interesting because it's not one of the packs for like 30 or 15. Oh, there's only 6 of them, but it's guys and they got big, like Whitworth looking, long optics and stuff, and they're really cool. I kind of wish I had ordered a pair of those just to have. Somewhere around here, I have a Confederate tree and a Union tree. Or I take that back. Maybe not somewhere around here. Somewhere in my gaming group, there are Confederate trees and Union trees from where I had a pack of those, and I actually modeled those guys into the trees, which was quite fun. but I need to order another pack because they're cool figures. And
I was about to say, how do you make a tree Union or Confederate?
it's based on the sharpshooter that's tucked into the branches.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
That
it's a cool set.
I'm picking up what you're putting down now.
Yeah, here I'm gonna. I don't know how to share my screen, but I'm about to send you a link to the pack because it is a cool pack. Um, Old Glory also has been expanding that because all of a sudden there's a bunch of stuff on there that I didn't necessarily see the first time. Let's see here, copy. Where is the Facebook chat? Maybe I closed it. Okay. Um, but yeah, there's stuff on the uh, Old Glory 15 or the Old Glory Civil War line in 15 millimeter that I don't remember being on there, and there's some really kind of cool shit. But yeah, there you go, Chris. There's a link to them so you can see where one of the guys is very purposely designed to be sitting in a tree, and then I took the bases off a couple of the others and got them up in trees, which was quite fun. Um, but yeah, that's how I have Union and Confederate trees. I also, speaking of the Bronze Age stuff, sat a couple weeks ago and or probably last Saturday, I think, and twisted up a bunch of wire trees for those kind of scraggly looking. Uh, yeah, there you go. For a bunch of the scragglier looking, Middle Eastern deserty looking trees to try and get some of those onto the table with the Bronze Age stuff because your normal deciduous stuff doesn't necessarily fit as well. Um, but yeah, so you can see down in the corner there. Oh, there you go. You can see down in that right corner where there's the guy who's blatantly meant to be sitting in something, and then the two kneeling guys. I cut the bases off and got them modeled into the crotches of trees and stuff.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, they are quite fun. Um, I'm kind of. I think I might have brought one or two of those to the Wiley Weird War Games weekend in October. I think a couple of those might have made appearances on that table. They weren't playable figures, but I think I had them sitting in some houses and whatnot.
Yeah.
Um,
Mythos says you can tell which tree is Confederate because it's painted up like the General Lee.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. Reese, you ordered Queen City, and oh, I have my Old Glory page pulled up right here. Let's see. Ooh. Let's see here. Card. How do I look at my crap? All right, order management. Boop, boop. The last order. Reese, you got an Osage River monitor, which looks pretty slick, as well as, yeah, the Queen City, which, like I said, that thing is huge. The River monitor is cool because it's one of the cool ones that's got kind of a monitor chart on the front and then a little bit of superstructure on the rear. Big fan of that. My goofy ass, of course, as soon as this stuff came in, jumped back on and was looking at other 15 millimeter ACW ships that I can order because fucking problems, as you guys know. But I'm quite delighted. The one thing that does always trip me up though is that Old Glory's website is functional. It works. They've got a lot of pictures. The pictures don't always super accurately show the proportions of the model, especially for the boats, um, because you can tell that in the HTML or whatever it is, there's a set size for the picture that it then just fills. It contorts the image to that size.
Right.
Tend to look substantially stubbier than they are, but they are quite delightful. To be honest with you, I'm looking at a number of other ones that could be quite cool. Like they have a city class ironclad, which as a St. Louis boy, I feel like I need a couple of, as well as some larger stuff like screw frigates and whatnot that are quite cool as well. Some side fun. But yeah, reason you're asking about the 90-day gunboat and the mortar schooner, those are both super cool models. Quite delighted by both of those. And holy shit, they all come with so many spare guns. It's ridiculous. I have a bunch of random naval guns now that I need to figure out what I'm going to do with. But yeah, like some cool ass naval guns I need to figure out what I'm going to do with. But yeah, see now I'm looking at them again. This is terrible.
Because you have a problem.
I do. I'll be the first one to admit it. You guys, everybody here knows that. There's boats, so we need boats.
Well, I am currently cleaning up peasants.
In 10?
Yep.
There you go. That's got to be cool. What
Yeah.
what 10 millimeter line is that?
Off of the Thingiverse.
Oh, nice. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
So, if I'm not mistaken, they were Ringgold. Because he's got a shit ton of stuff.
I have a problem. So now we're going to go look at that so that I can have another browser window full of. Oh, wow. He just uploaded a whole army of Dale yesterday. God, this guy's fantastic. That's really cool. So now there is a 10 millimeter army of Dale that is available for free, which is pretty slick, including a bunch of knights, mounted warriors of the Dale, the crazy like forearm crossbow thing, bowmen, what have you. Oh, he put out the fellowship in the boats. That's fuck. Sorry for cursing. That's not what I needed to see. Minister
Yeah, because
in
yeah,
10
because
mil.
you didn't need to see Lord of the Rings and boats at the same time.
Yeah, well, yeah. But like, check this out. Like, it's wild to me and super awesome, and all the respect in the world that he's continuing to put out quality free STLs for
Yeah,
something that's actually super useful and in pretty decent demand. Um, you don't necessarily see that a lot. You see a lot of duplicates of stuff. Excuse me, and kind of the same stuff, or somebody will post like a picture of a unit and then post one single figure and say, "Oh, you can find the rest on my Patreon or my Mini Factory or Gumroad or
right.
whatever else." Um, yep, there's Helm's Deep, Sauron, all the Harad stuff, battering rams. One of the first things I printed out on that Cobra S1 was his Aemon Hen, like seeing seat, which is super cool. That being said, I can't get that thing to print anymore.
That's no
Uh,
bueno.
it isn't. It makes me really sad because it's it's a weird issue. Like you can find people who've had all kinds of issues with every 3D printer. I haven't found somebody else who's had this issue. I'll set it to print, and it just when it auto levels every time you print. Right, it's before you print, it auto levels itself. Perfect, awesome, I love it. But it pushes the print head to the front left of the like box that it prints in
Yeah.
because it's a self-contained printer, which is really nice. I really like that. But it pushes itself up to that front left and just keeps you can hear the gears just grinding. Um,
Huh.
yeah, and I can't find anybody else that's had that problem. And I emailed uh, and it's just one of those this Chinese company doesn't give a flying shit about your problems, right? Because they know you're not. Oh, what the fuck? What are you? What am I going to do about it? Um,
Right.
and the issue is that line of thinking is exactly correct because my gut instinct of well, what should I do about that is well, I can just order a second one and then I have all the parts I need. Should something else break other than that thing,
Right.
right? I can cannibalize this second one for parts. Great success. Except for then I'm right back where I was with, bastards. What if it happens again with this one? I did not realize he had a bunch of Minas Tirith buildings in 10 mil because most of them, they get a bit chunky, but most of them you can scale up to 28 without any real issue, especially his ruins. Good Lord, his ruins look good. Um, that being said, I think we got a couple more days on the My Mini Factory big sale,
Yeah.
and the printing goes ever on, which Jimmy turned us on to back in the day. I don't know if you remember that.
Uh
Um,
huh.
they have a bunch of really good like Esgiliath sort of ruins also that are very well priced for the ridiculous number that you get. Uh, but yeah, Chris, you should absolutely print some of these things out like an Ent or whatever and just drop it on the table with uh, Copeland and Joel and see if
Yeah.
they obviously they'll pick up on an Ent, but you know, do like the dwarves or something because
Yeah.
or those things paint up. Those guys paint up stupid fast. If you do like the guys who have a bunch of armor on,
Yep.
intense, sweet Jesus, you prime them black. You essentially dry brush them pretty heavily with whatever armor color you're going for. Like I usually use a gunmetal or something,
Yeah.
and then I'll come back with a gold or a copper to pick stuff out. And then I'll hit the spears, hands, faces. You paint them like 6 mil, and they're done in no time. Um, but then he's got all kinds of Moria terrain and shit. This is wild. I love everything about this guy's work is great. Um, let's see what his first thing he ever put out was. Oh, it was Helm's Deep. It was a full Helm's Deep. Um, I don't know if this one's chopped up. Oh, it is. Um, but then, like I said, he just recently redid it, and it was gorgeous because that first one was several years ago. Um, but yeah, either way, long story short, if you have a 3D printer, you know someone has a 3D printer, and you want awesome 10 mil Lord of the Rings stuff, or just generic fantasy stuff, because like all of his Rohan houses and stuff are just perfect generic fantasy.
Right.
He's your man. Like he did the entirety of Edoras, just because they're fantastic. You want Siege Equipment? Done. You want the entire Tower of Orthanc? Done.
Yep.
Yeah, that on. That's wild. I'll never forget
You want?
an ancient white dwarf that I have right after like they started doing Lord of the Rings stuff. There was a guy who had scratch built an Orthanc
Uh
out of
huh.
like foam core and stuff, and it was 6 feet tall or whatever. It was super cool. Um, but yeah, there's another thing that I printed out a ton of in 28 is his Orc Siege rafts. because again, a bunch of these guys locally want to do a big Lord of the Rings stuff, and so I printed off all those Osgiliath ruins. I painted them up. It's awesome. They overflow the paper box I was storing them in for a long time, but we need the sea drafts and stuff. So I did some of his sea drafts, and then I printed some kind of generic cog looking ships. Excuse me, because if the orcs have boats, then the men of Gondor obviously need some boats to fight them in.
Right.
But yeah, I want to say a buddy of mine printed the Mumox that he makes in 28, and it took a big printer,
Yeah.
but it was pretty cool. He said he also did say it was a pain in the dick to get all the supports off, but at least with the prevalence of tree supports now, it's a whole lot easier than the old school like corrugated.
Oh yeah. The corrugated supports are a pain in the ass.
God, I hated those things. Um, but yeah, they're quite fun. I want to say some of these prints that he's got for these Mumox might have been printed in 15 or 28 because they look huge. But either way, Rangold's awesome. Really good resource for stuff like War Master. Or we did, at one point, I think we talked about this too. I made a travel set for, I don't even remember what game it was at this point in time, um, where it was a 3x3 box. It was just a plywood, uh, everything in woodworking and like cabinetry and stuff's boxes. It doesn't fucking matter. But it was a 3 foot by 3 foot by I think it was 8 or 10 inches deep box that I made at one point in time that then had the top just clipped on with hasps, but then I could flip the top over and it was a textured gaming table with, a 1 inch border around the sides. Inside of that box, I then had I made a cross brace that then subdivided it into 4 categories. So I had a couple of buildings, you know, then some trees and random stuff, fields and whatnot in the other quadrants. And then underneath, I had I think it was 2 or 3 inches deep drawer, and there were 4 of them around it, same 4 subdivision that I could then pull out, and I had magnet sheet at the bottom of it for models. What game was that? It was something like fantasy or medieval, because I wound up selling it to a guy locally here. Because I had it at maybe Miniature Market when it was in the old game night location, just further down Watson. Either way, I had it out there, and a guy was like, "Holy shit, this is fantastic!" And he offered me like $300 for it or some shit, Chris. It was wild, and I was like, "I'm not selling you the figures." He goes, "No, no, 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 you can take the figures. I just want the terrain in the box."
All
Okay,
right.
okay, I don't give a shit. I was like, that had to have been it when Miniature Market was still in that space because I was like right out of college. Um, and I built it in the shop class where my buddy taught. Yeah, I don't remember, but yeah, I need to redo that. That was a solid design. And the nice thing is, it's perfect because guys were wanting to play. I printed off a whole bunch of single 10 mil Lord of the Rings figures for guys to play Lord of the Rings in centimeters and travel, um, which was pretty fun. Pretty fun. They're really into like the Middle Earth strategy battle game, which is really, I understand people love it and it's a very good rule set. It's really clunky and fucking there's 8 trillion. It essentially comes down to whose heroes, who bought the nicer heroes, right? Um,
Right. Yeah.
like especially with once you get Aragorn and shit into the mix, it's just one of those okay, cool. Um, which is part of why it would be good to play it in Dragon Rampant because then all of a sudden you can use all your cool models. You get the same flavor, but you don't have the all powerful heroes running around the table just killing everything.
Exactly.
Brian, I'd
Yeah.
stand up right now and show where I don't need a corset, but I'm not wearing
Nice.
pants. So we'll see that one on your next live stream, Brian. I'll wear a hat, you wear your corset. Um,
Heyo.
Zing got him. Uh, but it's good to see you, Brian. Um, yeah. So, anyways, I don't remember where I was going with that. I need to rebuild that box because at the very least, you can certainly play War Master or any number of fantasy games with that.
So one thing that we're looking at being able to do is play Dragon Rampant on a like a 2x2 table
Mm-hmm.
where we use the 10 millimeter
Mm-hmm.
and all the maneuver units are changed over to centimeters.
Yeah, I mean that honestly, people really like having scales, and all that stuff. It's always worked way easier for me just doing it in centimeters and handing people a ruler that's got centimeters on it.
Yeah.
Um, because it's either that or you go through and you redo every unit profile and all your weapon profiles on like a stat sheet or whatnot, and it's just kind of um, people get confused and people get irritated. If you just do it all in centimeters, then you're measuring in centimeters, idiots. There you
Yeah.
go. That's all you need to know. Um, you should, Brian. They're really good games. I really enjoy them. Again, Dragon Rampant, Lion Rampant. I've played a ton of Rebels and Patriots. I've played a bunch of Men Who Would Be Kings. I've played several times. Very good. Like we said, I haven't played Xenos Rampant. Um, I think there's another one. Is there another one in that series? Is Pikeman's Lament in that series? Like
Yeah,
using
I
that.
believe it is. Yeah, I
Um,
believe it is.
but yeah, there's a bunch. Um, and yeah, you sent pictures of that, Brian. That looks really fun. To be honest with you, uh, I also have been really enjoying. If you guys haven't been watching, Mini War Mutts solo play of Four Against Darkness, where uh, Todd, Jeffy, myself, and Greg have been fighting all kinds of weird stuff. He puts out like a 20 to 30 minute video every Sunday of kind of playing through that. It's quite fun. I'm having a blast. Uh, not playing along, but watching and enjoying the goofy stuff we find ourselves against, whether it's banshees or mummies or whatever else. It's quite delightful, to be honest with you. Um, it is a bunch of screw ups wandering in a dungeon. Um, oddly enough, we're the screw ups, but you're in control. I still say, um, Brian, you need to get your hands on. I sent you all those STLs when you had a resin 3D printer. You need to print out all the little figures I made for everybody back in the day um, on Hero Forge or whatever, because those were rather entertaining between Jeff and Chris. You got one. You got a cat running around by your feet and stuff.
Yeah.
Just wait, Jeffy and Greg getting some deep shit. Good. I just leveled up to level 3 in Sunday's episode. I think Jeff might have also. I don't remember. But yeah, we leveled up to level 3, which is cool, except for then all the monsters like scale with you. It's a cool system. Um, I'm looking forward to them getting into some deep shit. That's good. They need it. It builds character for them. Um,
Literally.
it does. But yeah, very good games, Brian. Dan Murzy's a genius. The other one that I really enjoyed was for smaller scale skirmishes, not smaller figures, but less figures. What are they called? There's a like Three Musketeers and a samurai version. They were really early ones. Oh, it's going to drive me nuts. Oh, the first one was Ronin, and then I think On Guard is in the same uh, like engine. Those were quite fun to play. You get a whole lot more detailed into the okay. This is the one figure. Here's what the one figure is doing. Um, yes, Ronin by Craig Woodfield. I wonder if I can look up the other ones that he's written. I don't care which side I'm on. I'm just trying to see the. Yes, Ronin and On Guard. Those are the two of them, and they work. On Guard, what we figured out works really, really well for um, like pirates and stuff. Oh, Dux Bellorum. That's another one that Dan Mercy wrote. That I
Yeah.
think used that same system. I think that might have been the first one that he wrote. Um, Now I'm just scrolling through and looking at some of these. That being said, if you haven't watched it's a little older, but if you haven't watched the Little Wars TV episode about really, really good Osprey war games and ones that aren't as great, you should. Um, it's it's helpful because they really are just publishers, right? I'm pretty sure the way this goes is they take submissions of games, and if they seem well written enough, then they'll just publish them. Um,
Right.
but then it's up to the author to do all the support and and everything else. So it's a couple of them that I've gotten weren't as wonderful. Um, I haven't gotten one that I just sat down and hated because I couldn't play it. So don't get that impression. But a couple of them weren't quite as favorites of mine. Trying to think here. I think that's most all of Dan Mercy's between Dux Blorum, the Rampant series, Pikeman's Lament, and Men It Would Be Kings and Rebels and Patriots. I think those are all the ones that use that system. I want to say Andreas Sigfoli, the dude who did Song of Blades and Heroes, wrote one at one point in time, but I'm not sure uh, if it uses that same system as the Song of stuff. Um, I'm not sure that Osprey would put it up there that it did. You know what I mean? I don't know if they put that
Yeah.
in the descriptions of them, but that's another series that's quite fun. Um,
I have never. I have not played any of those
the
games.
Song of series,
Yeah.
they're fun. They've got an interesting kind of initiative or play uh, sequence. Essentially, you can roll one, two, or three dice for activation, and then depending on how actually, I don't think Dux Belorm is. It says it's element based for each base of figures represents 50 men. So I don't think it is the same. But either way, should be good. It's Dan Mercy. It's probably good. Uh, so with Song of I think it's the whole series, whether it's Song of Blades and Heroes, Drums and Tomahawks, Drums and Shakos, what have you. I know Song of Shadows and Dust, which is ancient street fighting. So like Roman street fighting and stuff, which I pulled back
Yeah.
out and read recently. You can choose with each of your figures to attempt to activate with one, two, or three dice. And essentially, you roll against I think it's their quality rating. And if you have 2 failures, then play passes to the other player. So it's another one of those things, kind of like Dragon Rampant, where after you play it a little bit, you kind of have to prioritize. Okay, this guy I really need to move to here, but that's only one move. So maybe I'll just roll 1 die or 2 die, hoping that okay, that'll get him moved there. That's easy. I don't have to worry about that. And then once you get guys where you want to move farther, it's a temptation, right? Because you might activate 3 times and move 3 times, but then if you fail twice, other guy gets it.
Right.
Which is kind of cool. That also is a giant series. He's written all kinds of books for that. Like, I know there's one where it's ships, Song of Galleons and Galleys, maybe, and then he's got a fanciful version of that, so you can play with like Dreadfleet ships if you've got them. One of the guys locally just grabbed Paleo Diet, which is caveman stuff. It's caveman hunting, which I think uses that same again mechanic, which is kind of sweet, kind of slick. Really excited to play that. Again, the same dude who picked up all the figures, and that again I painted like the 30 of them or whatever. He's painted another 30 or 40. Um, he grabbed all kinds of rules as soon as he got the hide and bone rules from Osprey. So I foresee a whole lot of caveman fighting in my future. I've made a couple of foam rock old school style caves for guys to live in and fight in out of and over. Um, and you get those sealed, and then painted, and then sealed a bunch more times. Because those can kind of be challenging to keep pristine, depending on how you pack them. I ran into that with my Mars train a little bit. I had to do a couple touch ups where MDF bases that they were on had gotten into the foam, but I probably just need more Mod Podge to be honest with you, because that stuff allegedly dries in a plastic shell. But a couple layers of that, you can also spray paint onto it, which is slick. Big fan of that. Uh, but either way,
By the way, Chris Long has joined us.
oh, outstanding.
How are
Oh,
you today, Chris?
apparently Andrea Sigfoley wrote Four Against Darkness also, which is pretty slick. McMurray is on camera, buddy. I finally got this thing set up. Galleys and Galleons, that's right. That being said, unfortunately, and I'm not just running away from you, Chris Long. 4 a.m. is going to come early, Chris. I got to bounce, buddy.
No worries, buddy. You take care. Then
Have
we're
a
going
good
to go
one.
ahead and be winding up anyway. So
Later,
be
Polly.
safe out there, my friend. And he's out. So, yeah, there we have it. I know you just hopped on, Chris Long, but gist of the gist of the show was started off with me looking at doing pre-dreadnought era warships using Ocean Thunder to what other types of games we use to play in other genres or eras to we're just talking about the Rampant series of games. So there you have it. Hope everybody's doing well. Like I said, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I've got a couple of different appointments tomorrow and still have to figure out some other stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up for the evening. Just a reminder, we are going to be doing a Paint Chat Hangout on Friday on Discord, Voice Channel 1 on the server. Come on out, guys. You don't need a camera if you don't want to be on camera. If you just want to be voice, that's fine. That's not a big deal. But I'd love to see y'all 8 o'clock Central Standard Time US, just like the show time. So hope to see y'all there. And we will talk to y'all later.